Hello, hello. Welcome to the stream. It's me, this guy. How are ya? Hope you're all good. We're going to carry on from the AMA. Hope you guys got your answers that you needed. The theme is Trick or Treat Gone Wrong. And you can use any type of game that you want, single player, multiplayer, that sort of thing. Just don't use IP assets or replicate them. So make them unique. And yeah. First thing I want to do, since it's a Halloween themed game, it makes sense to do something that is Halloween themed, as well as Chopper Chops. So maybe candy based. But one of the suggestions from Quarantine was you could use a tower defense template. So I'm going to go ahead and just load that up and show you how you can probably customize it with your own assets and what you can do with it, and make a unique game from these templates. Also, we'll open up the Backrooms template and we'll work on some logic that we could do there, like torchlights and scary creatures and things of that nature. Hope everyone's been well. All right, so we're loading in now. And yeah, good times. How has everyone been? Galador, show us. Alrighty. So it's loading in now. This one's one of the templates I made a while ago. And this one here is a beach theme. Obviously not going to work too well for Game Jam as a theme. But things are very easily editable. And I'll just show you how to do some basic things in case you're new to Game Maker. So if you want to do something that's darker, you can get a few blocks. And what you can do here is you can hold Alt on the keyboard, and that allows you to overwrite existing blocks. And yeah, you can start editing the experience to your own kind of liking or some sort of theme. And you can have the path that the enemies need to follow to be different, and make sure that it's highlighted. Something like this. And you just need to go in and fill in all the gaps in between. But you can do that. I won't do it with precision today because there's no point. But I'm just showing you how easy it is to edit an existing template. Then you can click on the tree and you can replace it. So you've got the replace asset here, and you can find something that might be a bit more appropriate. Here we can just have a tower, something that's maybe a little spooky. I don't know, we'll just use something like this and I'll go replace all. And I guess you can just replace whoa, that's huge. But you can see that you can replace things and just quickly make it more based on a scary theme. And then you can just change the water to lava. Oops. And yeah, and then you come down here and you can replace the towers. So the towers that you can build, the barbecue, the sand castle, and the lighthouse. So these are all presets. So if you wanted to change these towers, I don't know if I have assets that are here ready to switch over that are appropriate to the thing, but I'm just going to show you the process so you can so what's this? This is a vending machine. So what you can do here is this already have settings on it, and it's already used in the template. But if you want to change the looks, you can make your own assets and just replace it. And then when you replace it to your own, you can save over the preset. So you go to preset. This is the barbecue 1 tower. You can click on that, click confirm. And now when you test the experience, we'll start the game. And you can't see the squares you're supposed to build on, but you're supposed to label that. You can build a tower and we'll bring out the barbecue, which is now a vending machine. So when enemies come out now, they'll be attacked by a vending machine, which is appropriate, I guess. It does kill people in real life once in a while, so, you know, having it attack enemies in your tower defense game is not too far-fetched. And you can see here where the enemies are coming out of. You can rotate this tower and kind of make it look like that they're coming out of this building. Something like this. And you can just remove collisions if you want or not. It's up to you. And then it's really easy to customize this sort of game and make it your theme without doing too much logic side of things. All the enemies come here to the end. So if you want to stop the kids or whatever for the trick-or-treat theme getting to the end, you can have a house here or a bowl of candy or something to have an objective that's close to the theme. And if there is any particular type of logic you want to know how to do, now is your time to ask questions, and I can show you how to do that logic as well if you want something, or if you have something in particular in mind. So this is just one way you can take an existing template, replace the assets, save over the presets, change the blocks around, decorate it a bit, and you've got a unique type of experience quite easily, and it all should work quite well. Do check out the Tower Defense Workshop, should be on this Sandbox channel somewhere, where I go through the logic each section by section, so you know how to edit things and add extra waves and edit the gold and all sorts of things as well. So do check that out. I'll go ahead and save this and we'll check out the Backrooms template. And you do need to register, so do click the register link inside of the Twitch chat if you haven't done so already. Alright, so we'll go templates now and we will check out the Backrooms one. Should be under gaming. And we'll look for the Backrooms one. Just click horror, should show up straight away. There it is. And we'll load this one. Again, this template was made in a previous version of Game Maker. It should still be working, but there are things that could be updated maybe. But we'll check it out anyway. This one's not designed for to make it look like a horror game. It's designed all light and bright inside of a Backrooms, which is its own type of genre. But you can definitely make things darker and more spookier with creatures. So let me just quickly run through this one and hopefully see if this works. So this one here is a first-person view. And this one here, I have like an elevator scene where you're in an elevator and the door doesn't quite close, and you can see like a little story that happens before you enter the back rooms. And then you have things like gas. This visual effect here, I've got this area to kill the avatar, but as you can see, it's not killing me. There are a few things that have changed since this template was published, such as a damage message. So I guess this one here needs a bit of a update if you do plan on using this one. I'll just show you how to change that and fix it up if you do need to. So this is the room. So you can see this is where we hopped out of the elevator. This is where the gas is. So if you click play, you can see the visual effects here. And I have another one up here to give it some depth. But there's also another one in here which gives the message to damage the avatar. And you hear it should be damaging the avatar. It's got health here, damage avatar, everyone in range. Maybe the toggle on message. No, that's weird. This one should definitely be working. Ah, okay. Maybe it's because I got the multiplayer function turned on. Not too sure why this part wasn't working. But yeah, it needs a little bit of a debug, as you can see, because it is an older template. What I didn't add to this template, and I could show you here, I started developing it but didn't quite finish it, is to show writing on a wall when you have a torch pointed to it. And when you don't have a torch pointed to it, it can disappear. Things like that would be useful. If we come over here as well, you can just pull back the roof and have a look here. So when the player enters this room here, there's a torch, and you can pick up the torch and everything's quite dark. So that might be useful for this kind of thing. So let's take our avatar portal and we'll bring it over to that area so you can see. And you press, I think it's F. Yep, F to zoom in. And I'll go ahead and delete this wall so we can just walk through it. And let's press tab. So when we come into this room, it normally turns black. I think maybe because I cheated the logic chain here, it's not working. But as you can see, when I pick it up, it gives that vignette around the camera. And when you drop it, oh, there we go. So the darkness is now toggled on with the message. So everything's quite dark and it's hard to see. But then you can pick up the torch and things are bright again. And you can drop it. So this will suit kind of a Halloween theme and a type of game where you want to look for things in the dark and have things pop out and be scary. Another thing I have here is a creature. That creature will chase me as I run down. And that will be another thing that we can do. It's supposed to kill me when it reaches, but as you can see, it did not quite do that. So there might be, again, some logic issue going on here with the older version of the Game Maker not being backwards compatible with the current version. But everything loops and resets, so I can start again. And you can see the lights down the corridor turn on slowly. But I'm getting caught inside assets and everything's buggered out. So yeah, we'll skip that one. But here is some logic that you could use with creatures chasing you. So if you go over here, this is like a little maze, kind of a mazy area. And there are several creatures that get spawned. And they kind of patrol the area, and the player has to try to navigate through it without getting caught. So that's also an interesting concept as well, on trying to navigate a place without getting caught. And these aren't using like basic platform. These have a randomized movement area, so you don't know which direction they're going to go by watching them. And when you get too close, they spawn into something that will chase you around the map until you gain a certain amount of distance. So a bit of urgency is needed there too. Last year says, hey City, I'm sorry I saw many experiences during this season. Have in-game LB. Will Game Maker version. In-game LB. What's LB? I can't think of it off the top of my head. Leaderboard? Yes, sorry, it just clicked in as you typed it. Not too sure about leaderboard. That might be an internal thing that's being used at the moment. So the experiences you would have saw them in are like IPs or internal productions and not user generated content from the community. LB's is coming. It's supposed to be here like very soon, and you'll be able to use it once it's released. But for now, that is not on the cards. Now, is there any particular logic you guys would like to see for a horror game? Or not a horror game, but like a Halloween type game? Just let me know. Another template I made as well. I'll need to update the game, the backrooms one by the looks of it. The other one I made, I showed last stream. This one here is a resource management game. Resource management game could work for like candy. So you might have a candy factory and you want to accumulate the ingredients to make the candy and then ship it out. So you might have a factory that or a farm that harvests sugar, and then you get enough sugar to bring it into the factory. The factory then produces lollipops based on the sugar, and then the lollipops will be packed into boxes, and then a truck can deliver those, and then you can get money for selling them, something like that. I don't know if that's trick or treat gone wrong, but that could be a story-based idea rather than a logic-based idea. But maybe you can incorporate that sort of mechanic as well. And there's a lot of logic here to learn how to get resources by building certain buildings and placing them down. So you can change wood, stone, metal, gold to whatever you want. So I've added food and power, although they're not used in this experience at all. Those are there just for examples. And you can always rename things anyway. And the same concept, you could take something here, you can replace it to whatever you want. We'll do good old vending machine again, and then you can just replace the preset. So when you save over the preset, that should all work now. So when I start the game, I can press 1, I get the base, and when I place it down, you can see it's now a vending machine, and it's acting the same as the wood pile, but it just looks like a vending machine. So you can take existing templates and craft them as your own. Not very hard to do. And if you need any help or you get stuck with this sort of thing, you can always message me on Discord or ask for help on our Game Maker Discord on the Sandbox server. We'll be more than happy to help you there as well. All right, I'll hop out of this experience. We do have a survival template as well, which has the forced pickable. That one there, you can pick berries and fish for things, but for trick-or-treating, you'll need to, again, change it to a Halloween sort of theme and make it all work. And there's some logic to learn from that as well if you want some ideas for your game. But let's create a new experience. We'll just call it 1 because that's very creative. Alrighty. So you can make a single player or a multiplayer experience. Remember, if you do multiplayer, you need to tick this one up here to do your tests. Otherwise, you'll have things not work as expected once you upload it to Game Client if you're only testing in single player and you're crossing messages over. All right, so trick or treat. Now let's set up some dialogue. If you're going to set up some dialogue, which I imagine you will do for your experience, we're going to add a speaker. And with the speaker, this will allow you to have the character look at you when you press E on them. You can wait for message and have the message interact. So now when the player presses E, it should look over at the player to give a little bit more immersion when you're having a conversation with them. And if you want to have dialogue pop up, you just have NPC1, and this message gets sent, and you send it to an asker. So we're going to put down a numpad, put that in our bar up here. And what we can do here is we can add a asker. Now there's single player asker and multiplayer asker. With the multiplayer asker, I believe if someone is using it, other players cannot use it until they're done with the asker. So if they've made a selection and they're not using that asker anymore, the next player should be able to interact with it. So if you have a couple of players pressing E on the same NPC at the same time, only one will be looking at the asker and the rest it won't be doing anything for until that player is finished. I believe that's still how it works. I haven't tested it in a couple of versions, but I'm pretty sure that would still be the case. Can you go and get some candy for me? Say okay. And we'll say quest 1. So now when we talk to the NPC, it's going to ask if we want to get candy, and we'll say okay. That's quite a basic setup. And then this message here, quest 1, can be sent to the quest system, the objectives. So we go ahead and turn that on, add a quest. Let's call it quest 1, and call this quest 1. And we will launch it with a message, and that message will be quest 1. So when we send that message, it will trigger this quest, and here we can say collect 5 pumpkins, and we have a counter. We need a tag, which is pumpkin, and we'll copy that, and the amount, which is 5. You can change that to whatever, just make sure you put it in the description as well. You can make it autocomplete, or you need to talk to an NPC before it's completed. I do have more in-depth dialogue type of tutorials on the Sandbox official channels, so do check that out. And basically now, when we press E and we say okay, you can see that our quest begins, and you'll see that we need to go and collect 5 pumpkins. But for some reason it's not popping up. Yeah, that's unusual. Should be showing on the right. I don't know if that's a new bug. Let's have a look. Counter. Quest ID, is that new? I don't know what it is. And we need to collect 5 pumpkins. Usually it shows you on the right here, your quest. I don't know if it's a bug at the moment, but it is what it is. I'm sure it will work for you. All right, another thing you can do is have an asset spawner. So asset spawner will bring out assets when a message is sent. So if we have quest 1, which is when our quest begins, we can bring out an asset. Usually I always use presets, and I don't want only once. So presets are an asset that you save with predefined settings. I'll see if there's any pumpkins. Yeah, there's a pumpkin. We'll just go ahead and use this. It's got trick or treat written on the back of its head. Interesting. All right, and what we can do here is we'll get rid of the default behaviors components, and we'll just add collectibles. So collectibles, and when we pick it up, we do need to have here the tag pumpkin. So we'll go ahead and put that on the NPC. so it registers. What you can do, if I have 5 of them and I start the quest, I can pick them up. Fly with the dragon? What sort of quest is... I think there's some sort of issue there. That's very odd. Is that the quest ID problem? That's kind of random. I don't know what that is. If we delete this, does it do anything? No? I've never seen that before, guys, so I have no idea what that is. I'd be conflicting with something. But anyway, if you have these objects out beforehand and then get the quest, it will register that you've already collected 4. And if you got all 5, then the quest will finish straight away once you pick it up. So you don't want these assets to be in the experience until the quest is picked up. So we can use the whole quest 1 to spawn them. So what we do here is that these are collectible now. And you have 2 options. You have global. And what this does is if you spawn them from an asset spawner and it's global, that means the first person that picks it up will be the person that collects it, and it will disappear for everyone else. If we have this as false, that means that everybody will get 1 copy. So when the player picks it up, it will only pick up for them, and it will still be available to pick up for everybody else on the experience. So it depends on the type of game you're designing. You may want the players to have a first come, first serve basis, so they have to rush for it, and when they collect it, they get points. So that's a type of logic that you want to have as true. But if it's a quest that you want everybody to be able to complete and not be blocked by other players, then you want to go false for that one. It will be true for this example. And we'll go ahead and click the preset button here on the left, and we'll create a new preset. We'll just call it pumpkin. And we'll delete these. And what we'll do is we'll spawn that preset here, the pumpkin. So now when we talk to this NPC and click OK, you can see now the pumpkin has spawned for us to collect. And because there's 5 to collect, you probably want to duplicate this 5 times. So Control D to duplicate, and it will make that invisible, and we'll have no collisions. And same with this, invisible, no collisions. So the player can't run into it or see it. And now when you check out the experience, all they can see and interact with is this NPC. And then when we click OK, you can see that these guys have spawned. And we can go ahead and collect it. And yeah, done. So that's the basics of that one. Now, to make a Halloween type game, you probably want to be able to change the weather. Having a bright blue sky with bright green grass is not going to be ideal. So what you want to do here is in the behavior, you want to add a weather switcher. And with the weather switcher, you can have wait for message or just have it trigger instantly. And here you want to go customize. And with customization, you can change the light. The light color here, you can make it darker. And what you do here is when you click play, you can see things are a little darker. We do have a bright sky, so we want to change that. And you do that with these 3 here. So you get the sky top, the sky middle, and the sky bottom. So the sky bottom will be this area, sky middle is here, and the sky top is up there. So if we go ahead and change this one to say black, and click play, you can see the top part of our experience is now black. If you don't like this grid, you can go ahead here and click the grid at the bottom left and just remove that. And now you can see this a lot better. You can also change the shadows on the ground. So you have the time of day, and with the time of day, it displays the sun in a different position of the sky, which makes shadows longer or shorter or go in different positions. So just change the time of day so it's appropriate for your game. You can change it so there's no clouds. Maybe you want to have a lot of stars at night. So you can find the stars. Where is it? Star intensity. So go ahead and just make it full stars. We probably don't want the bottom of the sky to be so bright either. So you can see now we've got a starry night sky and things are a little darker. Again, with the light color, you can make it even darker. And just bear in mind that if it's too dark and the player can't see, unless it's intentional, it's not ideal. So just try to keep it dark, but not too dark where it's drowning out the visuals. And because we've got the bright green grass, you probably want to test it out with a darker color, and you can see now that it might be too dark if you're using a lot of black in your experience. You got shadow color as well. Purplish works fine if you have any shadows that you want to work with. So this is the way to get the atmosphere of your game happening. And another thing you can use for atmosphere, and I'll teach you a couple of tricks as well with it. We'll duplicate, Control D, and we'll get rid of the weather switcher, and we'll add in post-processing. Post-processing is an effect that goes over the top of the camera. Let me show you an example. So if we go psychedelic, you can see we've got like a psychedelic effect. Not ideal for long-term use, especially while jumping and moving around. Might be good for storytelling or a debuff. If someone ate a poison candy, they might be sick for a moment. And a way to time that one, let me just show you that. You got this snap to ground, which brings the assets to the floor. I use that quite a bit. All right, so you need a message for this one, and we can say toggle one on. You name it more appropriately. I'm just showing you this. If we Control D, we want to switch it from psychedelic to default. Just say toggle default. And now we just need a way to switch between the two. Now you can use a collectible for this. So if you pick up a candy that's not healthy for you, well, they're not all healthy for you, but you know, a poisonous candy, then I don't think I have an asset that fits that. We'll just use the pumpkin. We'll go back to this pumpkin kid. And what am I doing? I can just use the preset. So when we pick up a item, we can send a message on collect. So if we have toggle one on when this is collected, we can do broadcast type to all. So now when we pick this up, you can see now we've got a bit of a psychedelic event happening. And now this won't turn off unless you have a message to toggle it back onto default. So you need something to toggle it back on. What you can do here, I think maybe is maybe a timed event will work. So let's try that out. So let's do a timed event, multiplayer, wait for message, and is resettable. We can have toggle one on and say after like, we'll just say 3 seconds, we can say toggle default. So let's see, after we eat this candy, does it turn back automatically after 3 seconds? Yes, it does. And you can have it as long as you want. And that way you can have things that are collectible and can have a side effect to it. And after a certain amount of time, whatever you want, it will turn back to normal. Okay, so that's one thing you can do. We also have speed boosts. So let's get rid of that and we can have a message broadcast. And here we can have toggle one on. So when we pick up the candy, we could have the everyone in range. Actually, we can do it here, can't we? I'm pretty sure we can. Actually, once it's collected, it won't work, I don't think. All right, so we'll duplicate this. And here we can have, say, toggle one on, and then we can have speed. So speed is blue. This means we can change attributes. And we can go ahead and make it a 5-second debuff where you're going to minus 30% speed. So when we pick up the pumpkin, not only are we dizzy, but we also move a lot slower as well. And you can have a pumpkin that you can pick up that will increase your speed. You just put it to that scale over there, and the duration you can change as well. And play around with that. That one's a lot of fun. Also with post-processing, we'll duplicate. And we'll make this one toggle 2. And when we pick this up, it's going to be toggle 2. So we're sending a message to a different post-processing. And we can have black and white, which is good for storytelling in a scary story as well. We have vintage, which is a olden time or looking through a grainy picture or a TV or maybe a flashback. And we have grunge as well. But we also have custom. So custom, there's quite a lot here that you can change to get the atmosphere that you need. You got motion blur, which will give a lot of blur when you're walking around and moving. We also have a vignette. So vignette here is around the borders. So you can see now we've got this ring around the border. It's commonly used in video editing software. They'll be very faint around the edges. It's usually not this dramatic, but you can use it like this for the torch. So in the Backrooms template, the torch uses this effect, and you can get really small, so it's like a fisheye lens. And there's a lot of things you can do with this as well. Or you can just have it more subtle, so it adds a bit of a vibe around the edges without distorting the view. It just adds a bit of focus to the center. Then we have lens distortions. There's whole sorts of weird things happening with this one. So you can zoom in and out with this stuff. So this one's quite weird. That's the experience over there, and as you move this up, you can see that it really changes the view. And I think the default here is just 1. So if you ever get stuck and want the default, that's what it is. Or you can just delete the whole thing and start again if you get too deep. Here as well, you can do color adjustments. So if you want everything to be like reddish, you do that here with the color adjustment filter, and you can adjust this basically however you want to get the kind of the look and the feel. So here you can see everything that's black is really black, and everything else is more of a red tinge based on its bright colors and hues on it. So let me check chat. If you have any questions, let me know. Vova says, give me Alpha Pass. I don't have any to give, sorry. That's not my thing. Do join the other Sandbox streams though, with Alex. I think they give away some stuff sometimes, so you'll have better luck there. So Alican says, I have just arrived. Trick or treat gone wrong. You have extra details? It will be good to watch the AMA to get all those details because they went through it all. But you can use single player or multiplayer experience. You can't use the IP or their assets. You can only use your own assets or the assets that you bought, not wishlisted ones. The game type is up to you. The only thing is it's a Halloween trick or treat gone wrong thing. The rest is up to you. You can use templates, you can use tower defense, you can use back rooms, it's up to you. No restrictions there. Another thing too, to go with this darkness, you could probably use light sources. So if we have a, I don't know, we'll just use a panel in this case. With the panel, you can add a pickable. So the player will be able to press E and pick it up. And what you can do is you can send a message to the self and send a message to the self. And I think you can add light. Is that a behavior? No, it's a component. Okay. And we can say pickup is light on and drop is light off. And what you can do with this light should be a spotlight, but we want to probably change it to, yeah, spotlight. And you can change the intensity, which is how bright it's going to be, the range of how far the light spreads is the spot angle. So you can shrink it so it's more like a torch and have a bit of a fall off as well, so it's not so sharp if you bring that down. And to turn it on should be the light on, and to turn it off should be light off. So let's go ahead and say light on, and this one here as light off. And you want the starting state to be off. So we can snap that to the ground. So now what we have here is when a player presses E, you can see we've got a light source in front of us. And you can adjust that. So what we can do here is the grab offset. We can say minus 0.5 and we'll make that -1. So when the player presses E, the panel there is more closer to the player. And I think you can make the pickup completely invisible, so you don't really see it. It still looks a bit weird to have something like that to be all grainy and dotty, but there are ways to get past this, I think. Best way would be to use actor property. So if you have an actor property and you say light on, you can say we want to make the visibility. We can make the collisions no collisions here, but we can have the visibility to be false. And what we're going to make false is not everyone in range, because then everyone will turn invisible around you. You just probably want to make specific tags in range. Just make it small, and we'll just make the tag light, and we'll put it on itself. So now when we pick it up, it doesn't trigger the thing that it's holding by the looks of it. but when I let go, it's gone. So when you're holding it, it kind of doesn't work. Which is that because it is? We can't make it completely invisible, can we? All right, let's do another test. We'll Control D. We'll make the pickup broadcast to everyone in range. So when we do light on, everyone will trigger it, and this will trigger, we'll get rid of the light. And what we can do is this will reduce the visibility of the tag light, which is on here. And what we can do is light off to toggle on the visibility for this. And we can make this invisible so we don't see it at all. And when we press E, you can now see that my object is completely invisible. And when I drop it, it's back to being visible again. Pick it up, it's completely invisible. Drop, and it's visible again. Of course, you'll make this into a torch or something that looks more appropriate. And that's good for like a nighttime sort of game for Halloween. Team Sebka says how to assign team number and use this team number as signal to unlock some messages. Oh, that's a good question. All right, let me save this and we'll go through that. There are different ways to assign a team number. So you can have it so they're a specific team when they load in using the avatar portal. You can have, but once they're loaded in, they're that team forever until they leave the experience or rejoin again. So if you want the players to be able to change teams while in the experience, you can't use the avatar portal. Okay, so let's check this part out. So go ahead and we'll add a volume trigger. So we'll get rid of this and we'll have a volume. And we'll have a box and we'll say 1 by 1 by 1, 2 by 2 by 2. All right, so that's our box here. And we'll say this is team allocation. And we'll have a message argument. So click the second one and we're going to add a number and we'll just call it team and click create. Now we can add a team number and we'll say 1 and we're going to send that to the rules. So when an avatar walks in here, they are going to be sending the message team allocation with the number 1 to the rule system. If we duplicate this and bring it over here, we can change this to 2. So when a player walks in here, they'll send a message team allocation with the number 2 to the rules. Now let's go to the rule system. And what we need here is a variable. And that variable here will be, it can be a local, and we'll call it team. Now we're going to go set number value. And we're going to do team allocation. And we're going to set the team. And it's going to be the team of whatever the message argument is. So this is all you need to do to set a team for a player. And to see that variable, you need to add a onPlayer join and also a HUD. So when a player joins, they'll send a message HUD, they'll turn on the HUD, and then here we can have our team. And we can have team. So now when we test, I'm going to get rid of this quest. It's so stupid. There we go. When we walk into here, you can see in the top left, we have team 1. And if players walk in here, they are team 2. And that's just using a volume. You can set this with a teleport. So if you want a player to collect something, then they get teleported to the battlefield, which might be somewhere else. So we'll duplicate and we'll snap it to the ground. And here we might have a teleport. And here we can have, I don't know if it will work, but let's try it anyway. Teleports. And the teleport destination will be teleport 1, which will be itself. Teleport 1. And then on finish, we'll see if team allocation 1 works. So now we just need something to teleport us. We'll duplicate. We'll get rid of all of this. And we'll just go ahead and add a message broadcaster. Interact, and we'll send to all, and we'll do teleport. So now when we press E on this, it should teleport us. And you can see once it's teleported us, it hasn't allocated the team. So either this doesn't work or I'm missing something. So this part here doesn't work. So don't use this message on finish to allocate a team. That does not work. But what you can do here is have this message teleport be teleport 1. And this message here can be teleport 1. And then on it, we could have a message broadcaster, which is also listening for teleport 1. And then it sends a message to the rules. That's team allocation and 1. So now when a player presses E to join a particular team, it will take them to the area. And you can see now I am on team 1. Awesome. Now that's the allocation. Hey, OG Shakespeare, thanks for the raid. Now your question is, how do you have a team member use specific things with their team number? Cool. Let's let's do a couple examples here. Basically what we're going to do here is just do trigger key input. So when the player pushes the number 1, the message to send will be 1. And what we're going to do is a comparison. When the message 1 is sent, we're going to do team comparison. And if it equals to 1, we can say trigger 1. And what we can do here is we can duplicate this and make this one button 2 or button 1 again. And a message that gets sent, or you, sorry, yeah, you do 2 and 2, 2. And if your team is equal to 1, we can do trigger 2. So only team 1 will be able to use 1 and 2 on the keyboard to trigger 1 and trigger 2. Another thing you can do is duplicate this. And we'll get rid of this. And we'll keep it simple. So when the player presses 1, it's going to check the team. And if the team, your variable team, is 1, it will send a message trigger 1. And if your team is 2, it's going to send a message trigger 2. So here you're doing a comparison of the team for it to send a message to trigger things. So trigger 1, where can you send that to? So when it's sent, what was it? So I'm using 0.11 quite a lot, and it's a bit different here because the key inputs can be toggled on and off, which is quite different. But if we do trigger 1 and trigger 2, we can go ahead and test this out. So if I push 1 on the keyboard, nothing's happening. When I walk in here and I'm actually team 1, you can see I've spawned these creatures. And I can spawn infinite of them. I'm spamming and there's heaps of them there right now. I collect them all. Look at them all. But when I'm over here and I'm team 2 and I push 1, you can see now that I am triggering different events based on my team number. And that is from here, setting the number for the team. That will go over here and set your local number to whatever number is here. And then when you push 1, it does a comparison of your team number. And if it equals to 1, you'll be able to trigger the 1 things. And if it's 2, you'll be able to trigger the 2 things. Now, I do have more in depth for this on the Sandbox channel. Let me get that link for you. Actually, it's on my channel. I'll get it for you now. Brush, you can have something that... Yeah, okay, so it's this one here. So this one here is the first video I did when 0.10 come out. The second half, there's wands on the ground, and if you pick up a wand and press the shoot button, it will shoot just a wand that you're holding. And everyone can pick up their own wand and shoot. So if you watch the last like 5-10 minutes of that video, you'll see a whole bunch of us from the community hopped on the map and we're able to shoot each other with the wands. At the start of the wand though, if you pressed 1, it was shooting all the wands for everybody until I showed how to do the comparison. So check that out, because that one's there. It's got quite a bit of knowledge. And at the start of that video, I showed how to make cannons that you can rotate with the left and right mouse button and able to hold the attack down to shoot different distances. So you have a power meter, and depending on when you let go, it will shoot a different distance. So you can do like golf games or shooting cannons and things like that. So plenty of knowledge there. But yeah, that's the rule system can be a little complicated, and it's more for programmers. So if you know programming and the way basic math is used in programming and to achieve different results, this is more friendly for programmers than people that aren't. But it's quite easy to learn once you're shown how. There's only a few things to really need to know. Is if you need math, you can do math. This is the first number plus minus whatever second number equals. You can set a message after you do something. I use this quite a bit. The math rule, the comparison rule, the set numbers, the roller number, and sometimes the start timer. The key inputs, mouse input, and HUD. These are the ones I really use the most. Everything else, not so much, unless they're more specific. But these are pretty easy to understand. And you also right-click to see info, so it can tell you exactly what each thing does. So do read if you want to see how to use this rule properly and what it can actually do for you and how it works. So if you're not too sure what this means, it will tell you here, so you've got a better understanding on how each rule can affect your game. So if you want to do the math, this will tell you a bit more about it. And yeah, or just watch my videos. I do go through the rule system quite a lot. So another video I have done is for scoring. So let me go ahead and get that for you now. Where's my score-based one? I think I'll have a playlist made of my recent ones, but I showed how to set up an elimination race, so an obby is a option for this game jam as well. I showed how to do different keys with different locks, different color locks, so maybe you can't enter a door unless you have a specific colored key. I did hide and seek mechanics, infection mode. I do random logics, scores on equip, that sort of thing. I've done quite a bit, just scrolling through the list now. Yeah, do check out my videos if you want to learn a bit about more advanced logics. Just trying to find that specific one. I created deal or no deal on stream and show the logic for that. And that's to hide different numbers randomized in chests. Learn to set up teams in Game Maker. So this one might be useful. Let me get that for you. So this one too, this video here might be useful. I just linked it in Twitch chat. Here I get to set up teams, and here I think you get team scores and points. So we played around with that. And again, if you want to do team score, you can pick up a pumpkin. This pumpkin here, when you collect it, you can say gold or score. And we have a message argument. We make it a number, and we say score, and click create. And we click score for 10. And we can duplicate and duplicate. And here you can change the score amount when it's picked up, so you can make the asset look different, and this one might be worth 50 points, something like that. And with the score, what you can do is I'll go delete this. Same thing with this comparison, right? So we can delete this key input, and what we can do here is we can do score and score. And when you pick it up, it will see if you're team 1 or team 2. You probably want this to be global. Local is only for the person on their machine. Global is for everyone. So what you can do here is set up a number that says team 1 global, and then you do another one here that's team 2, and make sure that is global. And we can have a personal score. And what we can have at the bottom is team 1. And the next one here, we can have team 2. And when we pick up the score, if it equals to, if our personal one is team 1, we can say add score. Add score team 1, add score team 2, and then we do the math rule, and we just put it underneath so we can keep it easy to track. And here we say add score team 1, and we could take the variable team 1, and we want to add, yeah, we probably want to do it directly. So let's do score, and we want to add the value of the message argument to equal team 1. And if we duplicate this, yeah, because we need to do a comparison here, don't we? That's interesting. All right, let's stick to the original plan. We've got add score team 1. We'll take the variable and we can add we'll just have a fixed value here of 30 and 30. So this one here, add score team 2, and we're going to take the score of team 2. We're going to add 30 equal team 2. Now, so we've got team 1 and team 2, and it's going to do a check of your team number. And then once it knows your team number, it's going to add that to your score. So if we go ahead and just say, duplicate a whole bunch of these. Now you'll see at the bottom, we've got team 1 and team 2. If I walk in this square, I am now team 1. So when I pick up things on the map, it will detect that I'm in team 1 and put a score for team 1. If I'm over on this team, you can see now my team is team 2. And when I pick things up, it's going to add things to team 2. So anyone with a personal number of 2, when they collect stuff, will only add it to their team score. And anyone that's on team 1, when they pick stuff up, it will add it to the team 1 score. So that's how you make it a team-based game, by doing the comparison of their number. And if you duplicate this one, maybe this one here, let's duplicate. And this one here, if we have score, we could have the variable. So we got team here. Let's change it to a personal score. And what we'll do here is we'll take our personal score and we'll change this here. You can say team here. And here we can have our personal score. And when we pick up an item, it's going to take our personal score, and we're going to add the value to equal our personal score. So now when we play a game and we're team 1, when we pick up an item, you can see it adds that amount to the team score, but it also adds it to our personal score. So if you have other people picking up stuff on team 1, it will have their own personal score, but it will also add it to the team score. So now when I'm team 2 and I pick something up, you can see now that team 2's score is 90, but my personal score is 150 because I've picked up all the things on my own. So that is how you do that. So having that personal score and team score for score collection is definitely a good idea for games to make them a bit more interesting and competitive. And then what you can do here is after the team has picked up a score, we can say check score 1. And what we can do is we can do a comparison, and we'll go check score 1. And if team 1's score equals, I don't know, 500, we can have team 1 wins. And we can duplicate this, and we'll have it directly underneath here. And when player team 2 picks up stuff, it will be check score 2, which will go over here. We'll check the team 2 score, and if it equals 500, we can say team 2 wins. You probably want equal, greater than, and equals to. So it's not just 500, but if they get over 500, then it triggers the win. And then you can send a message based on who wins, whoever hits 500 first. So now we have personal score, team score. When it's collected, it allocates it to the team. And then it checks to see if they've hit the max value. If they've hit the max value, team 1 wins. If they hit the max value, team 2 wins. So the first one to do it will win. And you can probably send a message to let everyone know if team 1 won by using volume trigger and banners. That one there is needing a player needed. So you'll need a volume trigger that covers the whole map, but that one's a little bit more to set up, and I have explained that in other videos. But yeah, if you have any more specific questions, let me know. But this is the basic setup for team scores and personal scores, and doing a comparison of those scores to trigger who wins first, who gets the top scores first. And then you can branch off there. So if team 1 wins, something happens, team 2 wins, something happens, and whatnot. Bring them back to the lobby, and then you can assign them back up again. If you want a lobby system, the last like 3 or 4 streams I did on the Sandbox are basically a lobby system with 2 different game rotations with that sort of thing. So I've already got that step-by-step setup in the previous streams. But anything else? Last chance to ask a question before I head off. Perfect tools and explanation. Thank you. Appreciate it. All right, guys. Well, if you need anything, you can message me on Discord. You can even join my own personal Discord if you want quick help straight away. And if you have any questions, you can also send me a DM or wait until next week when I stream again. But best of luck in the game jam, and wish you all the best. Thank you. Bye-bye.